right, new trading data shows some investors have been taking a more active approach to their 401k holdings in recent weeks amid all the market volatility. Sharon Epperson sat down.
Really, Rocky Marie, your age and your willingness to accept risk will really determine the answer to that question. More in a moment on that from investment expert Terry Savage. First, though, what the president said.
That they worked all of their life and now they have to pay the consequences now and live in this time.
If you've checked your 401k lately and felt your stomach drop, you're not alone. There's a ton of chatter claiming former President Donald Trump's recent moves are wrecking retirement savings. Headlines are screaming and people are worried. So, is it too late? Is it time to say goodbye to your savings? All this and so much more in today's video. So, what's the deal? The big claim is that Trump's latest policies, especially on trade and tariffs, are causing the stock market to tank, which directly hits your 401k. For those who don't know, 401k is a retirement savings plan where your money is often invested in stocks and bonds. When the market dips, your balance can shrink, and that's scary for anyone dreaming of a comfy retirement. But how is the Trump administration affecting your 401ks? Well, that's a one-word answer: tariffs. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen raised this concern in a February 2025 press briefing, saying, "Trade policies like tariffs can create uncertainty in financial markets, impacting retirement accounts." That's a polite way of saying these policies might mess with your savings. Social media and news outlets are amplifying the fear, with some calling it a 401k disaster. But is Trump really ruining your retirement funds? Let's unpack the facts and see what's going on. Starting with the stock market. In early 2025, the Dow Jones and S&P 500 dropped about 3.5% over 2 weeks. That's not a total collapse, but it's enough to make the investors sweat a little. The main culprit? Trump's push for new tariffs on imported goods, especially from China. Short context for those who don't know what tariffs are. Tariffs are taxes on stuff coming into the US, and they can make everything from electronics to clothes more expensive. When companies expect higher costs, their stock prices often fall, dragging down the market. Yellen explained this in her briefing, stating, "Tariffs can raise costs for consumers and create uncertainty for businesses, which may lead to market volatility. The economy remains resilient, but we're closely monitoring these developments." In other words, the government's not sounding the alarm yet, but they're keeping an eye out. Your 401k is likely tied to big companies in the S&P 500, so when those stocks dip, your savings will also suffer. But the real question is, how much will they suffer? Realistically, a 3.5% drop isn't that catastrophic. Think of it like a rough patch, not a dead end. However, that depends on the stage you're at. If you're nearing retirement, even a small hit can sting. For context, Federal Reserve data shows the market often bounces back after tariff-related dips, like it did in 2019 after similar trade tensions. That doesn't make checking your 401k balance any less stressful right now. So, what's Trump actually doing? In a January 2025 speech, he laid out his plan, saying, "We're putting tariffs on foreign goods to bring back American jobs and make our economy the strongest in the world." He's proposed a 10% tariff on all imports and a hefty 25% tariff on Chinese goods. His team argues this will boost U.S. manufacturing and protect workers by making foreign products less competitive. Trump doubled down in a February 2025 interview, claiming, "These tariffs are a small price to pay for a booming economy. Your 401k will be bigger than ever." He's betting that short-term market hiccups will lead to long-term gains. But not everyone's on board. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell warned, "Tariffs could drive up inflation, potentially forcing us to raise interest rates. Higher rates make it harder for companies to borrow and grow, which can hurt stock prices and, you guessed it, your 401k." The mixed signals don't stop there. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo said, "We're trying to support American jobs while keeping markets stable." That's a diplomatic way of saying the government's got a lot on its plate and is juggling priorities right now. Tariffs might help some industries, like steel, but they can hurt others, like tech or retail, which rely on cheap imports. Your 401k, tied to a mix of these companies, gets caught in the crossfire. Let's hear more from the experts. Senator Elizabeth Warren didn't mince words, stating, "Trump's tariff policies are a reckless gamble that could erode working families' retirement savings." She's worried these moves will raise prices and slow economic growth, hitting your 401k hard. In fact, she's not alone. Some economists echo her fears, pointing to a 2018 study showing tariffs reduced U.S. GDP growth slightly. On the other hand, Trump's team is optimistic. In a White House statement, Trump said, "Our trade policies will rebuild American wealth, and your retirement accounts will soar." His advisors argue that tariffs will force companies to hire more U.S. workers, boosting the economy and, eventually, the market. This might also seem like a nod to Trump's seemingly anti-immigrant agenda. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen also weighed in again, saying, "We're committed to economic stability and protecting American savers." That's reassuring, but it's clear the government's walking a tightrope, trying to support Trump's trade agenda while keeping markets from spiraling. The debate's heated, and your 401k is stuck in the middle. All right, let's get real. Is your 401k toast? Not likely. Markets hate uncertainty, and Trump's tariff talk is stirring up plenty of it. But history shows these dips are often temporary. Back in 2018, when Trump rolled out tariffs, the S&P 500 dropped 6% in a month but recovered by year's end. Your 401k might be down a bit now, but it's not gone forever. If you're close to retirement, though, you're probably sweating. A financial advisor can help you shift your 401k to safer bets, like bonds or dividend-paying stocks, to cushion against market swings. If you're younger, say, under 50, you've got time to weather the storm. The key is not to panic and sell everything. Selling during a dip locks in your losses, and you miss out when the market rebounds. As investing legend Warren Buffett puts it, the stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. One thing to keep in mind, 401ks are long-term investments. A 3.5% drop sounds bad, but the S&P 500 has averaged 7 to 10% annual returns over decades. Short-term blips don't erase that growth. Still, it's worth understanding what's driving the volatility so you can make smart choices. So, how do you protect your 401k? Here are 4 simple steps to keep your retirement on track. 1. Log into your 401k account and check your investments. If you're 100% in stocks, you're more exposed to market drops. Diversifying into bonds or stable funds can reduce risk. 2. Resist the urge to cash out when the market's down. Markets recover, and selling now means you lose money for good. Patience is your friend. 3. A financial planner can customize your 401k based on your age and goals. If you're 30, you can handle more risk. If you're 60, safer investments make sense. 4. Keep up with news from reliable sources, like the Treasury or Federal Reserve. Not just headlines. Understanding the big picture helps you make calm and well-informed decisions. The Treasury Secretary's team is on the case, promising, but you've still got to take charge of your own savings. All right, folks, that's pretty much everything on Trump, tariffs, and your 401k. The market's bumpy, but your retirement dreams aren't dead. Stay calm, check your plan, and don't let scary headlines push you into bad decisions. What do you think about these tariffs? Are they worth the risk? Is Trump ever going to stop financially terrorizing the US? Drop a comment below. If this video helped you understand your 401k better, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications so you don't miss any updates. We'll see you in the next video.